So picture this, a grand wager between heaven and hell. At the center of it all, a perfect puppet, literally designed to be a punchline. But then, a single impossible choice happens and it changes everything. This is the story we're diving into today, the parable of the marionette Scissor. Okay, get this. That's the final line of our story. So the big question is, how on earth do you get there? How does a cosmic game, totally rigged from the start, end up in a state of pure, mind-bending impossibility? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning.
All right, let's set the stage. Our story kicks off on this epic cosmic platform, just hanging there in the void between the shiny courts of heaven and, the fiery gates of the abyss. The entire universe is basically holding its breath, just waiting to see how this massive wager plays out.
And right in the middle of all this is our, well, I guess you'd call him our protagonist, but he's no hero. Not even close. He's the Twilight Cynic, and he's literally a puppet, a duplicate made from someone else's memory. He's not a person, he's an object, and he was designed for one very specific, very cynical reason.
So who's pulling the strings? That would be the Sapphire Demiurge. Think of him as the master of this whole game. He's the creator, the puppeteer, the architect of this prison world. He wrote the script, and he is absolutely convinced he knows exactly how this is all going to go down.
But wait, there's a third major player here. Or, not really a player, more like a silent observer, Yashua. Now, this entity isn't giving orders or interfering directly. Instead, it just introduces a single disruptive truth into the whole system. And this one little truth, it has the power to unravel everything.
So the puppet is given his two choices. It's a classic setup, right? On one side, you've got hell offering the sweet pleasure of oblivion, of just dissolving into the not I. On the other side, heaven offers the heavy, terrible weight of duty and conscience. But here's the catch, the big twist. Both of these offers need something the puppet doesn't have. You need a heart to feel pleasure, a spirit to carry the burden of duty. And this guy, he was specifically designed to be hollow. So yeah, the game is completely rigged.
But even in this perfectly built trap, something starts to go wrong. A single whisper starts to pull at the threads of the whole design.
And that whisper is this: man must still err. That's the truth that Yahweh breathes into the void. It sounds simple, right? But it's the one thing the Demiurge's perfect, logical system just can't handle. See, perfection doesn't make mistakes. It just follows its programming. But people, humanity, we're kind of defined by our ability to mess up.
So here's the crazy part. The cynic's biggest weakness, the fact that he's empty inside, that he has no real self, that becomes the very loophole that could set him free. Think about it. He's not tied down by all the hopes, fears, and desires that make up a soul. He's a completely clean slate.
And then comes this moment. He looks in a mirror and he finally sees the truth. But he doesn't see a soul. He just sees the prison that's been built all around him. And it clicks. He finally understands that he's not just a pawn in some game. He is the punchline to a massive cosmic joke. And the cruelest part? He was the only one who wasn't supposed to be in on it.
So according to the script, he was supposed to pick one of the two paths, right? Or maybe just break down into crazy nihilistic laughter. But instead, the Twilight Cynic does the one thing a puppet should never, ever do. He looks up.
And he just rejects the whole false choice. He dismisses heaven, he dismisses hell, not because he's being rebellious, but just out of pure logic. Their offers are totally irrelevant to what he is, or, more importantly, what he isn't.
And then he turns his attention away from the other actors on stage and looks right at the director. He confronts the Sapphire Demiurge face to face. He basically calls him out, accusing him of building him for one reason only, to prove some cynical, philosophical point. He sees the strings, and for the first time, he sees the hand of the puppeteer.
Okay, so what happens next is completely off script. The Demiurge is waiting for his logical, perfect punchline. But what he gets instead is something he never, ever could have predicted. A real, genuine, human accident.
Right as he's confronting his maker, the cynic stumbles. And it's not some cool, dramatic move. It's clumsy. It's a desperate, awkward flail to try and catch his balance. But in that raw, physical struggle against gravity, that completely unplanned, unscripted moment of imperfection, something happens. A spark just ignites inside his hollow chest.
And this spark leads to an absolutely revolutionary idea. I mean, think about that.
If you're not real, then the rules of reality don't apply to you. If you're just a story, you don't have to follow the plot. By fully accepting that he's artificial, he finds the ultimate freedom.
And this, right here, is the absolute heart of his rebellion. He's not trying to claim he secretly had a soul all along. Nope. He is literally creating an I out of nothing. It's a pure act of will, and it's defined entirely against his creator. His very existence is now an act of pure defiance. So for his grand finale, what does he do? He doesn't just cut the puppet strings to heaven or hell. That would still be playing their game, by their rules. No. He does something way more powerful. He reaches right into his own chest and rips out the script, the code, the story that the demiurge wrote for him. That he makes a new vow, a new declaration. He will not be the joke. He'll be the painful laughter that follows it. He's not going to climb some mountain to find a truth that's already there. He's going to build the summit under his own feet as he goes. He creates his own purpose right then and there, ever upwards.
And the aftermath of this impossible choice? It shakes the very foundations of the cosmos.
And here is the ultimate beautiful irony of it all. The demiurge was beaten by his own creation, using his own tools. The puppet took that cold logic, that pure will, the sapphire mindset that was used to build his prison, and he reforged it into a key to escape.
And this, I think, is the most profound takeaway from the whole thing. The puppet was supposed to be this perfect, predictable work of fiction. But by making a mistake, by erring and straying from that perfect script, he became real. It suggests that reality isn't just something you're given, it's something you can actually achieve.
And that leaves us with our final image. It's not about a winner or a loser. It's just the cynic walking away. He's not a piece on the board anymore. He has completely transcended the game. The great wager between heaven and hell wasn't won or lost. It just became irrelevant.
And that brings us full circle, right back to that impossible ending, the die landing on its edge. It's a perfect metaphor, and it leaves us with a question that goes way beyond this cosmic story, a question for every single one of us. What's more real, the script you're handed, or the one you have the courage to write for yourself?